Well, how come we allow $6 billion a day not to be reported? It ought to be stopped.
And intentionally failing to deliver that stock within the standard 3-day settlement period can be market manipulation that is clearly violative of the federal securities laws.
Which is just stealing is all it is. This is all an example of stealing.
It sounds ominous, it sounds nefarious, and by and large, it's a non-issue in the marketplace.
Is somebody manipulating the shares? What is going on here? It certainly smells bad.
Welcome to this Bloomberg News special report. I'm Mike Schneider. Stock manipulation. It's a problem that dates back to a time when Wall Street was just a wall. Built by the Dutch back in 1653, stood 12 feet high and ran pretty much beneath where I'm standing right now. Over the centuries, investors have learned many tricks to drive stocks both up and down. One of the newest ways to drive them down, and you can make lots of money doing that, is with an obscure Wall Street trading tactic called naked short selling. In a normal short sale, an investor borrows shares and sells them. If the price falls, he profits by replacing those borrowed shares with cheaper ones. But in a naked short sale, an investor fails to deliver the shares because he doesn't borrow them. In extreme cases, he even sells phantom shares, shares that don't even exist. While naked short selling is legal, manipulating markets is not. And regardless of intent, the effect of naked short selling can be the same, driving share prices lower. Our story now begins with a man who has done more to call attention to this problem than anyone else.
There is in place a system. There's an Al-Qaeda, so to speak, a loosely organized group of people who are destroying small companies and looting the savings of America.
Gather around. We're doing our morning meeting this afternoon. Come on in.
Meet Patrick Byrne, the outspoken CEO of Overstock.com, an internet retailer based in Salt Lake City that went public in May 2002. For the past 2 years, Byrne has been complaining that naked shorting has driven down share prices in thousands of small public companies, including his own, by permitting the sale of stock that, in some cases, doesn't exist. From January 2005 to January 2007, Overstock share prices dropped nearly 70%.
It's a really simple concept. And when you get to it, you think, what's all the hullabaloo about? It's really basic. There are people selling things and not delivering.
The 43-year-old Byrne, who counts Warren Buffett among his friends, says his troubles began after Overstock reported a profit for the second time in its history in the fourth quarter of 2004.
It is my privilege to welcome Overstock.com to NASDAQ this morning as we honor their accomplishment as one of the most innovative and successful internet companies in recent history.
In 2004, Overstock sales had more than doubled to nearly $500 million. Its stock had tripled, but the high fives and champagne soon gave way to disbelief. From a high of $77.18 in December 2004, Overstock shares began tumbling. By December 2005, they collapsed to a low of $28.02. Byrne became convinced his shares were being manipulated, a conclusion also reached by Tom Ronk, the president of Buyins.net. Ronk sells data on short sales to companies and investors.
Overstock is the poster boy of naked short selling. What's interesting is that from January 1st, 2005, Overstock.com has been on the naked short list for 91% of the trading days. In that exact same period of time, over 86 million shares have been shorted in Overstock. How is that possible? It shouldn't be.
Ronk says naked short selling explains the huge decline in Overstock shares that January, when the stock fell 20% in just 1 month.
We have found very large drops in U.S. stocks in 1 month trading periods. So we're seeing that when they first come in and attack, they hit it hard. They really hit it hard because they can get away with it. And they cause the largest damage to the stock usually in the first wave of selling.
Overstock is just one of hundreds of companies considered at risk for manipulation by naked short sellers. They appear on stock exchange lists mandated by the Securities and Exchange Commission's Regulation Short Sales, or Reg Show. These threshold lists consist of companies with too many trades that can't be settled because stock is not delivered to the buyer, so-called failures to deliver.
I mean, some people use the phrase counterfeit stock to describe the phenomenon, that if you can sell stock and you never have to deliver, it's going to have the same impact as selling, selling, and selling. It's going to push the price down.
What is naked short selling?
Angel says not all failures are the result of traders trying to manipulate stock prices. Some may be caused by clerical errors. Overstock was on the first list of failed deliveries that U.S. exchanges released in January 2005. Along with Overstock were more than 240 other companies on NASDAQ's list. Among them, some familiar names: Trump Hotels and Casino Resorts, Global Crossing, Netflix, Taser, and U.S. Airways. The New York Stock Exchange had nearly 60 companies on its list, including Delta Airlines, Martha Stewart Living Omnimedia, Krispy Kreme Donuts, and Winn-Dixie Stores. And the problem is not going away. Since Reg Show took effect, more than 4,500 companies have been affected by stock delivery failures severe enough to qualify them as threshold securities. That's roughly 1 in 3 companies traded on U.S. exchanges, the majority of them with small or very small market caps.
I don't oppose hedge funds. I don't oppose short selling. I object to the accumulation of unsettled trades in our financial system.
Reg Show is supposed to restrict short selling in threshold securities. Once a company is on an exchange's threshold list, Reg Show requires prime brokers to settle any new trade failures after 13 consecutive trading days. But Byrne and other CEOs say the SEC's own data prove that Reg Show is failing to stop naked short selling. Companies including Overstock, Krispy Kreme, and Martha Stewart each have been on threshold lists for more than 400 trading days.
I can see no reason why sellers should be able to fail to deliver shares for years in name brand companies. It just doesn't make sense. It raises the question, what is going on here?
Patrick Byrne was convinced that illegal activity was responsible for the failures in Overstock trades.
There's people going to go to prison. There's nothing they can do to make me stop.
When we return, Byrne's fight would take him to a place that is one of Wall Street's best-kept secrets. But first, what naked short selling has in common with the producers.
Leo, how much percentage of a play can there be altogether?
Max, you can only sell 100% of anything.
And how much of Springtime for Hitler have we sold?
25,000%.
In The Producers, down on his luck Broadway impresario Max Bialystock and his hapless accountant Leo Bloom sell more shares in a play than is mathematically possible. The CEOs like Frank DeBrucke have complained for years that the same producer-style accounting is at work when abusive naked short sellers target small companies.
20,800% of our company was traded in a single month. The shares weren't available. They weren't there. There was no way they could be trading.
In March 2005, the Senate Banking Committee confronted then SEC Chairman William Donaldson with a story about Frank DeBrucke's company, the Nevada-based real estate holding company Global Links. An investor named Robert Simpson had set out to prove that small companies were indeed frequent targets of abusive naked short sellers. Simpson placed an order for $5,000 worth of stock in Global Links. That got Simpson ownership of all 1.1 million Global Link shares in the market. Not some of them, all of them.
There were no shares available to be borrowed, and yet in 2 days there were over 50 million shares traded. That's clearly something that needs work.
I was absolutely blown away when I bought 1,282,050 shares, which equated to 111% of the issued and outstanding. I just couldn't even fathom that. So it wasn't just crooked, it was Wild West times 10.
The day all this started, trading in Global Links opened at 10 cents a share. Within a second, the price dropped to a penny. An hour and 16 minutes later, Global Link stock was trading at 8/100ths of a penny. Prices dropped 99% in less than 2 hours. Global Link CEO Frank DeBrucke wrote shareholders, telling them the selling of Global Link shares was evidence of illegal trading. And when that occurs, he said,
the company cannot meet its goals and shareholder equity is diluted so that brokers can line their pockets with illegal cash.
The same conviction motivated Patrick Byrne to hire 6'6" John O'Quinn, one of the few attorneys in the country tall enough to look him in the eye and, by reputation, a giant killer. In Texas, they call O'Quinn the billion-dollar man because he won billion-dollar judgments against makers of silicone breast implants and Fen-Phen and against big tobacco.
The deal is rigged so bad, I can make this statement safely. You have more chance to be treated fairly in a casino in Vegas than you do in the stock market. The security industry has things rigged to where they can deal from the bottom of the deck regarding your stock and your money.
O'Quinn's co-counsel is another Houston-based attorney, Wes Christian. Together they represent some 20 U.S. companies that all claim damage from naked short selling, including Overstock, Sedona Corporation, and Taser. They represent Overstock in a lawsuit seeking $3.5 billion in damages from Wall Street's biggest prime brokers, accusing them of executing short sales with no intention of delivering stock, causing Overstock's share price to drop. All the accused have declined comment on pending litigation.
If you're a short seller and you abide by all the rules governing short sales, then fine. It's legitimate, it's legal, it's proper. That's not what is going on Wall Street. What's going on Wall Street in our cases, and we're now seeing in many other companies, is a rigged system.